Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a semi-new podcast in which we discuss Denver sporting news. We break down the games and we talk about what's to come for the teams we love. As you already know, this is the Denver Dollar, and I'm your host, Daniel Shalansky. Without further ado, let's get to it. The date today is February 14th, 2021. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you in relationships. And to everyone who is not in a relationship, let's bet our feelings away. That money that you would have been spending on a hot date, last night or tonight or whatever activities you would have had planned for today. Let's put it all on the line when the Nuggets play against the Lakers at home tonight. Now, this is game 4 out of 4 in a home stretch. The Nuggets have played 3 previous games at home. The home stretch looks like it started with a loss to the Bucks, and then there was a win. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers by 35 points on Wednesday, and then on Friday they narrowly pulled out a win against the Oklahoma City Thunder. In fact, they only won the game by 2 points, and a lot of people are talking about what easily could have been the decision maker. At the end of a quarter, Jamal Murray heaved up a buzzer beater, and if you look at the replay, it was going to brick. It hit the backboard, and then it was going to hit the back part of the rim and bounce and, miss terribly. It wasn't even that close. But Hamidou Diallo on the Oklahoma City Thunder is a very high-energy individual. He oftentimes likes to, if someone chucks up that buzzer beater, he likes to go run and catch it when it's not close. He's one of those guys who doesn't let players see whether or not their dead stoppage shots go in, because he likes to goaltend shots that count after the whistle. He likes to, he's just all over the place. He's very high energy. He almost has some ADHD type energy, and one medium for him to get rid of that energy or to, just express himself is he always goes for the buzzer beaters. He likes to get the rebounds on them even though the clock is always up. He messed up in drastic fashion. It was a very dramatic blunder on his end because he technically tipped Jamal Murray's shot. He blocked it from going in the basket, even though it wasn't going to go in the basket. He blocked any chance it had of going in the basket while it was still over the cylinder. I don't know if he knew. I don't know if he thought Jamal Murray didn't get the shot off in time, even though it was fairly blatant that he did. I don't know if he thought that, it was going to go in, so there was no point in not goaltending it. I don't know what the hell was going through his mind. But Hamidou Diallo goaltended a buzzer beater heave attempt that was not going to go in, and that counted as 3 points for the Nuggets in a game that they ultimately won by 2. It was a crazy game. A lot of people are saying, if you're a team that's tanking and you don't want to show it, you might as well, lose the game for your team in the third quarter, which is what Hamidou Diallo did. It was a very smart team. It was a very smart play if the coaches and the whole organization of the Oklahoma City Thunder was telling them to pretty much tank without showing it. It just made him look stupid. But one thing we're not giving him credit for is it could have been a 4-dimensional chess move. He could have been 2 steps ahead of everybody, and we all just think he made the stupidest basketball play of the season when really it was the smartest. I'm just kidding, of course. That is not the case. Hamidou Diallo made one of the stupidest moves in recent memory. Now, for this game, those are the last 3 games. That's kind of what happened. Now, for this game, the Nuggets, again, they do play against the Lakers. They played the Lakers recently. They played them on February 4th, just 10 days ago, and it was a fairly rough outcome. The Lakers won 109-71. The Nuggets were up the whole game, up until the end of the third quarter, and then they just really absolutely fell apart. And in this game, one bet that I usually don't talk about that I am willing to take is I'm going to bet that the Lakers win the third quarter and that they win the second half. Because I'm not sure who's going to win the game. I'm going to place bets on who will win the game. But one thing I am confident of is, the Lakers have been struggling early to start games. In his interview 2 nights ago, after the Lakers played the Grizzlies, Richard Jefferson told him, he's like, LeBron, you guys started the game down a hole of 20 points. The Grizzlies had 22 points. You guys only had 2 points, and that was like 4 minutes into the game. And he was like, what the hell? And LeBron's like, in all seriousness, I do think we're a championship team, but we got to figure that out because when we play against the better teams, they won't give up such, big leads like that. and they did that to the Grizzlies, who are not even in the Western Conference playoff picture as of now. So it was really ugly that happened. Another thing that I am confident in, just like the Lakers getting down early, is the fact that the Nuggets blow leads. Other than that Cleveland game, there was another game when they played against the Heat last month. Those are the only two games I can think of where they, had large leads of at least 20 points and kept it, pretty distant throughout the whole game. Every other time they allow teams to creep back, and sometimes they pull it out, and sometimes they lose, and we're all like, fire Coach Malone. Even though I don't know if that's the move, we all get frustrated as Nugget fans. These are two things, according to the game script that I'm predicting, I do think that the Lakers will get down early and the Nuggets will potentially blow that lead. So I'm going to bet on the Nuggets in the first half and the Lakers in the second half. Let's look at those odds, actually. I apologize for not having previously done this research. Again, it's Valentine's Day. So, first half, I'm betting on the Nuggets to win the first half at plus 120. That's great value, especially considering that's something that I absolutely think to happen. In the second half, I'm going to bet on the Lakers, and that's minus 118. So I'm taking both of those. I'm going to put $5 down on both of those. I consider those both pretty good narrative-inspired bets. I'm sorry, I usually don't take these bets, but today is kind of a weird game. We have a lot of injuries in this game, actually, that I forgot to highlight. Pardon me. So the players on both teams are completely absent from the BetRivers card at this time of recording. On the Nuggets side of the ball, Jamal Murray is questionable with an ankle, and that is bad news for us because we are already going to be without 3 guards if he's unable to play. If he can't play, get ready for a Monte Morris, Facu Campazzo starting backcourt for the Denver Nuggets. We haven't seen that yet. We've seen them together off the bench, but both of them starting, I think that'd be really fun. It's just a shame that it might have to be against a quality team like the Lakers, also known as the defending champs. They get every free agent they want. They get LeBron. They get Anthony Davis. Neither of them were drafted by them. They get every free agent they want. The Lakers will always be good for the most part, and it's a shame that it will be Facu and Monte if Jamal's unable to play against the Lakers. I would like to see them do their thing against a weaker opponent. So again, Jamal Murray is questionable with an ankle. A new one, Will Barton, is going to be out. He's missing this game today with due to personal reasons. We don't know what those are yet. We can only speculate. Perhaps he has a hot Valentine's Day date that he decided to call the game off for. I'm just kidding. I hope whatever it is that is keeping Will Barton out is, nothing severe, nothing bad, and I hope that he and his family are able to get through it. But he is out due to personal reasons. It must be something significant if he's willing to miss such a significant game. Now, PJ Dozier will still be out with a hamstring issue. Gary Harris is still out with a thigh issue. And Greg Whittington's sightings have been about as rare as a Sasquatch sighting. In fact, I'm pretty sure Sasquatch would take a picture of Greg Whittington if he saw him roaming throughout the woods. I haven't seen this dude. I haven't heard anything about this dude. I know he's supposed to be a good wing defender, but we haven't seen him at all. I'm thinking that maybe he's healthy and maybe he's just, chilling in Cuba right now with Tupac and he's just he's taking it easy right now. He's apparently the GOAT. He's the next MJ, but no one knows it yet. Only Coach Malone knows this. He says, "Hey, you're going to be our secret weapon in the playoffs. We're good enough to make the playoffs without any wing defense whatsoever. So people are going to game plan for us. They're going to be like, oh, the Nuggets, we know what's good with them. We're just going to drive from the wings with our big guys. If we play the Lakers first round, LeBron James is going to have a feast." Right? That's what Frank Vogel's thinking. Wrong. Greg Whittington is going to come from Cuba right before the playoffs start. He will still be eligible to play, and he's going to be the best wing defender the league has ever seen, and it's going to completely throw off every team during the playoffs. Maybe Coach Malone is also playing 4D chess, just like my friend Hamidou Diallo with the stupidest goaltend I've ever seen. But Greg Whittington has not been seen. I just know what player he's supposed to be. I have no idea. I've never seen him in a Nuggets uniform. I've never seen him play. Again, at this point, he's rarer than a shiny Pokemon. In terms of the Lakers side of the ball, they are also missing a bunch of dudes. They have a bunch of questionables. In fact, you could call it their big 3. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the GOAT, Alex Caruso. those three are all questionable. Their injuries aren't listed on the report. I would have to imagine Davis has had something to do with his quadriceps. That's what he was out, for recently. Caruso, I have no idea what it is, but a veteran like Caruso, at least he looks like a veteran with his bald ass head, he might have a rest day because, the other guys aren't playing. I have no idea what's up with him. And LeBron James, I don't know why he's questionable either. He might have a date or something. Just kidding. He's definitely hurt to some extent, but I haven't on the Lakers injury report. They're not very transparent, and they do not list any of their reasons for being absent. The other GOAT on the team, I already talked about Alex Caruso, Thanasis Antetokounmpo. He's the best Antetokounmpo brother. He's the better than Giannis and his other counterpart in Milwaukee, Kostas. Thanasis is out with a knee injury. He's been out for some time. He will not be playing in this game. So the Lakers are arguably missing. They're definitely missing their two most important players potentially in James and Davis. And the Nuggets are missing pretty much every single guard on their team in, potentially Jamal Murray, Will Barton, PJ Dozier, and Gary Harris. So because I have no idea what the hell the starting lineups are going to look like for either team, considering all these absences, all these potential absences. The Nuggets only have two guards on their team, so what the hell? Marcus Howard might have to play a ton. It's weird. Because no one knows, and especially, I don't know, Vegas definitely doesn't know what the starting lineups are going to be for each team. All the player props are absent from the BetRivers scoring card, and that is a damn shame because we love player props on the Denver Dollar. We love betting the over on Paul Millsap, even though sometimes he plays 18 minutes and it stabs us in the back. We love taking the over on Jokic double-doubles. He is 23 of 24. We've paid like $50 on the season just taking $5 bets. It's absolutely obscene at this point. Yeah, we like our player props, and they're going to be unavailable in this game due to all these injuries that are occurring on both teams. Not if Jamal Murray is absent or not, definitely with the absence of Will Barton. Another exciting thing to see in this game is, we will see a lot of Monte, we will see a lot of Facu. We're also going to see a lot of RJ Hampton, and he's been developing quite nicely as of late. He's made a three-pointer in the last 4 straight games. He had 10 rebounds a few games ago. His defense looks stellar, and he is very high energy. I hope he replaces Will Barton. I hope he takes some of Will Barton's minutes as the season goes on. That's just me, being potentially hard on our guys, but I think Will Barton is where the ball goes to die. He is either looking for himself to get an assist and he'll force a pass to someone, he'll turn it over, or he'll score. He's rarely just merely a cog in the offensive wheel. He likes to think that he is the final cog in the offensive wheel. I would be happy to see RJ Hampton take more of Will Barton's minutes. In fact, in games that Will Barton has played more than 27 minutes, and the reason I say more, and I'm also going to say less, is because recently when they played against the Thunder, Will Barton had exactly 27 minutes, and they won, so that would, I'm cherry-picking these stats, that would make my argument look a little bit worse. So when Will Barton has played more than 27 minutes, the Nuggets are 4-9. When Will Barton has played less than 27 minutes, the Nuggets are 10-2. Yeah, 10-2. It's pretty, or not 10-2. The Nuggets are 9-2. Will Barton played 27 minutes in this previous game. That's the only game he's played exactly 27 minutes in any game this season, and the Nuggets won. So I'd rather, instead of saying, the Nuggets are 5-9, I'd rather say the Nuggets are 4-9 when Will Barton plays more than 27 minutes. Admittedly, it's a cherry-picked stat, but I don't like what Will Barton is doing on the court. I think overall he's a net negative. So, talking about all those things going into the game, let's talk about some things that are kind of pertinent. Talking about the injuries, let's talk about other things that are pertinent before we talk actual numbers and actual bets. The Nuggets are scoring 115.2 points per game. They've fallen from the number 3 spot in points per game to the number 4 spot. And their defense has only improved while their offense has fallen off ever so slightly. It doesn't matter. They just had a low-scoring game against the Thunder recently, and that moved them down like 0.5 per game. their defense. They are allowing 111.2 points per game. That puts them at number 12 in the league. So they're a top 4 offense and a top 12 defense. People don't give their defense enough credit. I'm starting to come around. They were atrocious to begin the season, but people are like, oh, who's the best center in the league? Is it Joel Embiid? Is it Nikola Jokic? Oh, but Joel Embiid does stuff on defense. Nikola Jokic is only good on offense. That's bullshit. Don't buy into that narrative. Seriously, Nikola Jokic has like the 3rd highest Raptor rating of any, defender on the Nuggets. He's been an overall absolute net positive on defense, and he's number 7 in the league in steals. Joel Embiid, sure, he might be a rim protector, but he doesn't fly around the paint. He doesn't, get steals. He's not a cookie monster like Joel Embiid or like Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is averaging like 1.7 steals per game. That is like almost unheard of from the center position, especially combined with his other stats. Seriously, people are so stuck and stubborn in what they think a prototypical center should look like and should play like. And those are the only people that think Joel Embiid is the best center in the league. It really is Nikola Jokic. And the Nuggets have been stellar on defense, and that has been with Nikola Jokic on the court. It hasn't been despite Nikola Jokic. It's been because of Nikola Jokic. For the Lakers, they are averaging 113.2 points per game. That puts them at number 13 in the league. So their offense is kind of middle of the pack, but their defense is what makes them stellar. They're only allowing 105.2 points per game. That's the number 2 scoring defense in the league, only behind the likes of, yeah, you guessed it, the best team in the East, the New York Knicks. Just kidding, you didn't guess it, but the Knicks are the number 1 scoring defense in the league. The Lakers are number 2 as of now. They used to hold that number 1 spot. In the Lakers' last 5 games, they have won all 5 of their 5 games. They're on a 6-game winning streak. In the Nuggets' last 5 games, they've only won 2 out of their last 5 games. And they've won their last 2. They're on a 2-game winning streak. Before that, they lost 3 in a row, which was so ugly and so hard to watch as a Nuggets fan. But yeah, they have won 2 out of their last 5 games, and now we have a tough matchup against the Lakers, and we're definitely going to be shorthanded. That's stacking up perfectly for the Nuggets to, we're barely holding on to our 7th seed right now. We're the Mavs are 2 games behind us, and they're out of the playoff picture at this point. If we're the 7th seed in the West. If the Nuggets were in the East, they would be the 4 seed ahead of the Celtics, who are the 4 seed right now. People were like, oh, Kevin Durant, he went to the Nets. There's finally going to be parity in the league. The East is going to be so good, and so it's going to be such a competition. And I don't know if it was because of injuries to like random teams or teams just disappointing. Looking at you, Wizards. Oh my God, that backcourt is such a mess. But there's no parity in the league. It's only in the West. The West there are 12 teams with winning records in the league at this moment, and 7 of them are in the West. There are 3 teams with losing records in the East, in the Eastern Conference playoff picture. That's so ugly, and that's such a stain that in this crazy year of free agency, you had Russell Westbrook coming to the East. You had Kevin Durant coming to the East. You have James Harden coming to the East. That the East isn't able to be somewhat more competitive with the West. They lose most of their games that they play against Western Conference teams. It's a shame because it makes it way harder for our Nuggets. And it's really a shame because if the Nuggets were the 4 seed with the roster they currently have, Nikola Jokic would be a way more serious MVP candidate than he is right now, just because people don't think that the Nuggets are doing super hot. And to be quite frank, they aren't. They started the season 1-4. Just this week just in the past 2 weeks, they had a 3-game losing streak. So, if the Nuggets were in the East and they were the 4 seed in the East, people would be like, all right, it's legitimate. Nikola Jokic is legit. But they look at us, they see us as the 7 seed. The only time anyone has won the MVP as, worse than a 3 seed in the past 15 years, and pretty much like the whole modern era of basketball, was Russell Westbrook, and the Oklahoma City Thunder were a 6 seed. Now, the Nuggets are a 7 seed. If Nikola Jokic wants to win the MVP, they do have to be better. So, those are kind of just the necessary things going into this game. The not necessary things, I don't have any player props to talk about, so I'm feeding you all the narrative that I give a shit about going into this Lakers game. There's one thing I forgot to tell you. I hate the Lakers more than any team in the NBA. And, I do hate the Lakers. I hate the fact that they R.I.P. Kobe, but when, I'm about to talk about him, when he retired, they were so bad for so long, and They're bad. They're so bad for a couple of years. They had a weak ass roster, and being as privileged as they are, they're the LA Lakers. They're historic. They're in Southern California. Everyone wants to play there. Unlike any other team like the Nuggets, who drafts all of their talent, and it does such a good job as a front office drafting and developing their talent, and you're really finding hidden gems and making them into legitimate NBA players. The Lakers go, hey, we're gonna trade all of our young guys. We're gonna get LeBron James and we're gonna get Anthony goddamn Davis. Like they just get whoever they want, and it's like Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo. Oh, you guys are pretty much in the twilights of your career, but you're still good role players who can contribute to a championship team. You want a ring? Come play with LeBron in LA, and I hate that so much. Talking about parity of the league, that is what ruins parity of the league. That these big markets have such an advantage over small markets, and it's a shame. So I do hate the Lakers, but even more than I hate the Lakers, because it is fun to watch LeBron and Anthony Davis play. You do have to respect their greatness. I do like to watch them. I hate Laker fans more than I hate the Lakers. All the dudes who just follow LeBron wherever they go, or just want to root for the championship team and will argue with you on Reddit. And the Laker fans absolutely friggin' suck. And while I'm talking about narrative before I talk about numbers, that's a narrative that I want to promote using this platform. That's a narrative that I believe in. Fuck the Lakers. Fuck Laker fans. There you go. I said it. Now, in this game, the Lakers are favorites. They're favored by a spread of 3 points. The money line is in favor of the Lakers, minus 143 on the Lakers. If you bet on the Nuggets, it's plus 123. Now, the Lakers they've had a bunch of difficult games. They barely beat the Grizzlies. Well, they beat them by like 12 points, actually. But the reason I say that is because they were down 13 points at halftime. They had to dig themselves out of a hole. LeBron had to play more minutes than he wanted to. He was tired after that game. And in addition to that, the previous 3 games that they played before this Grizzlies comeback, brutal, grit and grind comeback win that was sure to tire them out, they played in 3 straight overtime games, which is absolutely ludicrous. They played in overtime against the Pistons and won. They played in overtime against the Thunder and won, almost double overtime. And they played against the Thunder again in overtime and almost went to double overtime again. So they've played in 3 out of the last 4 games have gone to overtime. They almost became the first team in NBA history to go to 4 straight overtime games and win them all. That is a feat that has never been done before. The Lakers are tired, but with all the Nuggets, depth issues and I don't know, there have been a bunch of times where LeBron and AD have both been questionable and they've both played. If they both play, I think it'll be absolutely difficult for the Nuggets to win. If they're missing, 4 guards, they're going to be missing so much backcourt depth in this game. So, I'm not going to bet either way. The Lakers are sure to be tired. Maybe the Nuggets will have Jamal Murray. But, yeah, the Lakers are exhausted, and I have no idea which way this game is going to go. That said, we can predict game script. The over-under in this game is set at 217 points. I do like the over, especially because LeBron's questionable, AD is questionable. If those guys don't play, then it's sure to be just an offensive shootout because, the Lakers do have other good defensive role players, but they're going to put their young guys on the court. The Nuggets are going to put their young guys on the court. We're going to see a lot of RJ. We're going to see a lot of Zeke. They're going to be able to do their thing. And I would expect it to be just kind of almost like a high-scoring, let's see what our young guys can do game. If a bunch of these starters are unavailable, I am going to take the over of 217 points at minus 112. And using that, I'm not betting on the spread, just like I'm not betting on the money line. If the Lakers do win, I think it will be by more than 3 points. I usually bet that it's going to be more than a 3-point margin. It's very rare that it is less than a 3-point margin because if you think about the end of the game, there are pretty much always intentional fouls and, free throw opportunities for the team that's already in the lead. And that just makes the game go longer. That just makes the distance between the two teams get larger usually. It's just a way for the losing team to prolong the game and have some semblance of a chance to win. So I do not like betting on any spread that is, within 3 points. But like I said, I like the over, and so I'm willing to take a few bets with that. I think if the Laker Star, whatever, I don't think that the Nuggets will be able to score a lot of points. I think it'll be in pretty similar fashion to last game, in which they only scored 91 points and they lost. If they're missing a bunch of their guards and the Lakers stars are able to play, I think the Lakers will handily win, and I think they will handily hit the under. So, what bet am I taking for that? At plus 220, I'm parlaying the under in tandem with the Lakers win. But I'm also going to go with the complete opposite. I think the Nuggets could pull out this game if the Lakers stars aren't available, or if, the Nuggets are tired of losing to the Lakers, they want revenge from the game that they lost recently to them on February 4th. They want revenge from the playoffs. They're looking good. They're on a 2-game winning streak against 2 pretty shitty teams, whatever. I will take the Nuggets in parlay with the over at plus 310, putting $5 on both of those. If either of those hit, I'm up a pretty considerable amount, so I like my investments there. Of course, the Lakers could win and it hits the over. The Nuggets could win and it hits the under, which I don't see happening at all. The Nuggets will not win if it hits the under, but the Lakers could win in the over. That's something I'm scared of, and that would prevent me from winning either of those parlays, but I don't think it'll happen. Yeah, so those are the parlays I like. I'm going to do a 3-way money line real quick. I'm just going to talk about it. I'm not betting on either team. Just like I said, I don't know who's going to win in this game. I'm sure the Lakers are not going to let the game go into overtime, though. So if you want to bet on the Nuggets in the money line at plus 123, forget about it. Vote on them at plus 138 in the 3-way money line. That's a difference. If you bet $100, that's a difference of $15. And only 1 out of every 19.95, that's pretty much, let's round up, that's 1 out of every 20 games has gone into overtime. So that's a difference of $15, and only 1 out of 20 times would you lose all $100. So say you multiply 15 by 20, you're looking at $300, and only 1 time would you lose $100 because of this bet. It's always worth it to bet on the 3-way money line. It's always, always worth it. Let me hound that into your goddamn heads. Now, for the Lakers, their normal money line, like I said earlier, is minus 143. If you take the 3-way money line, they're looking at minus 127. If you're so inclined to bet on the Lakers in the 3-way money line. Now, another bet that I like to take, I couldn't do that much player analysis, but I was able to do my tip-off analysis in this game. And this is crazy, Anthony Davis is the perfect candidate to beat Nikola Jokic every time they tip off against each other. So why am I about to tell you to bet on Nikola Jokic to win the tip-off? Because when they played on February 4th, Nikola Jokic won the tip-off. The track record this season shows Nikola Jokic, and we can't even defer back to the playoffs because it was all JaVale McGee taking the tip-offs for the Lakers, which is so stupid. It blows my mind. But yeah, in the past 2 seasons, there's only been one tip-off between Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic, and Nikola Jokic won it. Despite Anthony Davis's 7'6" wingspan, I'm going to bet on Nikola Jokic, which means I'm betting on the Nuggets to score first at minus 108. That's better odds than the Lakers at minus 113. I'm taking the Nuggets to score first at minus 108. Now, I'm sorry the podcast is about 30 minutes long. I wanted to keep it short due to the fact that it's, Valentine's Day, and that I had no player props to talk about. But in, typical Dan fashion, I like to run my mouth. Hey, that's why I'm talking to you guys. I like to talk sports. I like to run my mouth. And, there was a lot to talk about going into this game. There was a lot of, narrative to talk about going into this game. I had to give a little, speech about how much I hate the Lakers. I apologize for that. But yeah, I wanted to keep it short, and I didn't necessarily keep it super concise. I apologize for that. But thank you for listening. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you celebrate in good fashion, and whether that is, taking your girl, or for you girls out there, taking your boy out on a date, or if you're single and you're sad and you want to cry, don't cry. Just bet all of your money. Just listen to me and bet your money that you would have spent on Valentine's Day on this game. Listen to my bets. Take all the bets that I said. Trust me, you'll win some money, and then maybe you'll be able to find yourself a girl, or maybe you'll be able to find yourself a boy, because your pockets will be thick, your pockets will be full, and you won't be able to fit anything in there because of all this newfound cash that you will be holding from listening to my podcast. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you all later. Happy Valentine's Day.